and working from our strengths. The power of the pause. So this is a technique that works great. You can do it anytime and in any situation. And I thought maybe I'd walk you guys through it so you can get a little bit of a feel for what it's like. So we won't do a full minute, but this is when we really just kind of take a break and kind of stop when we're getting flooded with thoughts. Maybe we're feeling stuck and we're having a hard time moving through a situation. So we'll stop for a minute and really just breathe. And so if everybody could just kind of relax for a second, check their tension in their bodies, maybe unclench their jaw, relax their fingers, relax your shoulders, and then take a deep breath like you're smelling a flower. And then exhale like you're blowing out birthday candles. And do this a couple of times, and when you're doing it, notice where you're holding any tension or worry or stress. It could be in your stomach, it could be through your shoulders, it could be, you know, in your gut, and then just kind of recognize it for what it is. And then pay attention to what you're paying attention to. What are you thinking about? Dr. Daniel Amen talks about ants, and those are automatic negative thoughts. Are you experiencing any of those? Are you focusing on problems? Or are you focusing on possibilities? And then how is what you're paying attention serving you would be the next question you would ask yourself. So can you let something go? Is what you're focusing on helping you move through a situation? Would you be better served if you could shift your perspective? Do you need a break? What do you need to do to bring your focus and attention back to the task at hand? So this little power of the pause can happen at any time of the day. And it's a habit. It takes a little bit to implement, but we all know sometimes in a difficult situation when you're writing an email, it's always good to pause before you hit send. It's the same type of concept. So the steps again are to pause, breathe, pay attention to what you're paying attention to, process and pinpoint what's going on, name it to tame it, which would be decision fatigue for the purpose of our topic of conversation today, and then plan and pursue. How can we move forward so we can get past being stuck right here? So that's the power of the pause. The second is checking our positivity ratio. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson is a positivity scientist, and she's done a lot of research on this. And she says that there is a 3-to-1 positivity ratio. So for every one negative that we experience and that affects us, we need 3 positives just to balance all of that out. And there's actually science that back this up. When we're stressed and our bodies produce adrenaline and cortisol, those are the bad chemicals, those stress chemicals. Good in certain situations, but not so good if we're in a chronic state of stress. And they could lead to heart issues and weight gain if it's a chronic type of a scenario. Adrenaline and cortisol stay in our bodies longer than serotonin. There's that word again. And oxytocin, the loving and bonding positive chemicals. So it takes more of those positive experiences to outweigh or shift us out from a negative mindset. So brain facts, again, our brain is a random thought generator. There was research in 2005 that said the average person has about 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And of those, 95% of them are exactly the same repetitive thoughts as the day before, and about 80% are negative. So I didn't do the math on this one, but if we did the math, that would be a whole lot of extra positive experiences that we would need to implore just to balance some of that negativity out. And another psychologist likes to say, Dr. Rick Hansen, negativity is like Velcro and positivity is like Teflon, and we need to make positivity stickier. So how do we do that? Well, again, Dr. Barbara Fredrickson in her book, Positivity, will talk about 10 forms of positivity. And that would be joy, gratitude, serenity, interest, hope, pride, not the bad pride, the good pride, like remembering things that happened in your life that where you were successful and some of the accomplishments that you made throughout your life. Amusement, inspiration, awe, and love. So more facts based on science. Some of this is pretty obvious. Positivity feels good. It changes how your mind works. So think of growth mindset versus fixed mindset. It can transform your future and put the brakes on negativity. And it also obeys a tipping point. And what that means is a small change can make a big difference. And you can always, always increase your positivity. You're not just stuck with X amount of positivity. There's no limit to it. But this doesn't mean the Pollyanna type of positivity where everything's just kind of sappy, sugary, sweet, and butterflies and roses. You know, we don't want to be blindly optimistic, but we want to focus on all our successes, the things we love, our interests, and the things that are true, and just acknowledging those. So here's a toolbox of positivity. Some things that Barbara Fredrickson mentions in her book are to be open, create high quality connections, cultivate kindness, develop healthy distractions. I mentioned pattern interrupts earlier. Sometimes when we're stuck in negative thoughts, maybe we need to get up, go outside, get into nature, take a little bit of a walk or a break. Dispute the negative thinking. You know, if we're having these negative thoughts, ask ourselves, is this true or is this just some belief system that I have? Meditation, savor your positivity, practice gratitude, and learn and apply your strengths. So this brings me to knowing your character strengths. The VIA Institute on Character has a survey, and it's free. It takes about 10 minutes to complete. Oh, by the way, VIA stands for Values in Action. And I didn't put it on the slide, but I wanted to share with you. They actually did a 3-year study before they created this survey, and they had 55 scientists that worked on it. And what they came up with actually spans the globe. And any culture, any country in the world, people can take this test and figure out where their character strengths lie. And they say we have 24 of them, but we all use them in different ways. We all have signature strengths that we lean on naturally. And one of the things that they say is when you discover your greatest strengths, you learn to use them and handle stress and life changes. You'll become happier and develop relationships with those who matter most to you. And it's really just living in congruency of how you're designed, how you're made up. So again, there's 24 character strengths. When you take this test, I wanted you to know that there are 606 trillion possible combinations of outcomes. So this is truly like a thumbprint. It's very, very individualized. So I love this tool. I use this with every single client, and it's free. So if you're interested in checking that out, again, you can find it at viacharacter.org. Again, just takes about 10 minutes to do it. And here are some of the strengths. And this is from the premise that we have all 24, which is really, really cool. And it shows us kind of where the ones that we lean into, our signature strengths, are about probably our top 5, maybe 7 strengths. And it'll do the percentages for you. And if you're stuck or you're in a situation where something just doesn't feel right, this is a great tool to go back to and use and see how am I using my creativity if that's one of my signature strengths. If I realize I'm not using it in a situation, how can I? And it just helps you to be your true authentic self. So more brain facts. Since we were dealing with big numbers, I thought I'd add this one in here too. The human brain contains approximately 100 billion neurons, And this is about the same number of stars in the Milky Way galaxy. And experts call these connections or synapses a neuron forest. And information runs between these neurons in your brain for everything we see, do, and think. And they move at different speeds. And I think the fast one is about 250 miles per hour. And it only makes up 10% of our brain. So it's easy to see that the brain uses more energy than any other organ in the body. It's also easy to see that it's natural that we may be experiencing some decision fatigue during this time because our brains are working really hard. So that brings me to the end of our presentation. I didn't want to go too long. I have some notes and nuggets that I wanted to share with you guys, but I'm curious about what you're taking away, and I'd love to hear from you before I share some of my thoughts.
I felt like you were talking directly to me.
Oh, good.
I really loved that. I think this is important for everyone to hear.
It's so easy to just kind of start going with the flow. We forget to slow down. And we really sometimes forget, I know especially as a woman, we forget that self-care piece. And we tend to put our other responsibilities before that. And it's so important.
Leslie, do you have any tips on prioritizing when making decisions? Because we have so many and they seem to be coming at us all the time and from multiple directions. So how do you decide what is, how do you decide how to make decisions?
Right. Yeah. So that goes back to that here. I'm going to come out of this big screen. So, and I'll go back to this other slide. Yeah, because that's a great question. And I'm so glad you asked that. A lot of my ADHD clients, they will, some people prioritize like with a list with the most important thing being at the top and work their way down. So some of my ADHD clients will prioritize by let's put everything out of the table and let's pick what's the most interesting. That's a strategy, but it may not be the best way to prioritize. So, I mean, that's a common question that that's asked to me as well. So again, going back to the different strategies of doing it, you kind of have to look and see what's happening, looking at your calendar, what's taking precedent in your life, what can wait, what can't wait, getting the bird's eye view of what's going on. And a lot of times we can't do that unless we pause and just kind of breathe our way through it a little bit. I don't know if that helps.
It does. I think what I struggle with sometimes is when every decision is high priority. When you've got 10 or 15 that all fall into the same category of like our top priorities for the day. I find it hard to sometimes decide which one is the highest level. So I tend to work on everything at the same time, which part of that is just the nature of what I do. But part of it is, I think, is a character of mine that I throw everything up in the air and I just try to juggle it all instead of, okay, these are my top 5 for the day. I'm going to start with number 1, then go to number 2, then number 3. So other than just and reflecting and that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, and some people find it really just helpful to, so like working from those deadlines, working from a time frame, working from like, when does this absolutely have to get done? Now we could say now for everything, but and often we do, but we may have to take that time to strategize what can be delegated, what can I, even if it's just for a second, or what can I avoid for just a second, or for the next 2 items on my list. And by avoid, I don't mean that like just brush it under the rug, but just what can I, can this sit over here for just a second? Because we can't do everything all at once. We start juggling, like you said, or spinning too many plates. Eventually, everything's going to come crashing down.
Mm.
And so I don't really think multitasking is real because of that. I mean, we might get to a little bit, but I mean, if we start trying to do too much at one time, it will be overwhelming.
Yeah,
and that
Glenn
will
just
cause
made
us to shut down.
Glenn just made a really good point in the chat. He said, research has shown that there is no true multitasking, that your brain
Absolutely.
can only focus on one thing at a time. And do you find that to be true in your research?
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually had it in my notes, and I didn't put it in one of my slides, but yep, that's exactly true.
I appreciate what you've been sharing. I'm an adult with ADHD, and I have loved what you've done today. So thank you, because I can relate to all this. Because I not only am I ADHD, but I have done the character's strengths assessment, and it's very good. I encourage everyone to go on and do that. So also being a personality where I'm very engaged, I love networking. I love being around people. Sometimes I can get overwhelmed, and the avoidance happens so much, or I call it freezing up. Yeah, I just get frozen because there's so many decisions to make. There's so many things to do, and I appreciate what Amy said, because I cannot imagine what all Amy does. Everything's important. You've got your family that's important, your business is important, and everything in the business is important because everybody's saying, oh, well, we have to have this done today. We have to have this done today. And it just, your brain can only just do so much. So I appreciate what you're sharing here, because I can relate to the fact that, especially with my ADHD, it is so hard to prioritize because everything seems important. And there's literally some days when I sit down and I write out what all I got to do, I'm like, I'm just going to go hike. I have got to get here. I can't. My decision is to step away for a little while. And I do shut out everything so I can. And I found that hiking, I used to do running, but I can't right now. But it was just the rhythm, the consistency of not hearing anybody, but hearing a constant beat going on. It helped me sort through, come back, get a few things done, and just say, hey, I had 8 things to do, but I got 3 or 5 done. It was a good day.
Absolutely. And I just want to acknowledge what you just said too, because you just you have found that employing some of those things really work. Like, so you got outside, you had to take that break. You hiked or you jogged, or ran when you could. And so you're getting oxygen in your brain. So when we get that oxygen flow going, we can access those executive function skills that much better. And a lot of times my clients with ADHD, there's a lot that have lags in their executive function skills. So that's exactly the strategies that that work for many of them who put them in place. So I just, yay, good for you for knowing that and recognizing it. I think that's wonderful. And thank you for sharing it too.
Well, I will definitely be reaching back out to you personally for some more information. I appreciate what you're having to say today.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
If anybody has any questions, we have about 6 minutes left, and just feel free to unmute and ask.
Yeah, absolutely. And here, I wanted to throw up some of my little notes and nuggets too. One thing I didn't talk about, but it's so important to remember to give yourself and others grace and compassion, because we're all doing the best we can, whether it's Corona or not. So really, because we don't wake up in every day going, let's see how, what I can do to, create a hurdle in my day. None of us want that. So just remember, grace and compassion are also key too. And I'll throw this up here too. And I have one other thing I want to say. My final note and nugget is to just wear the lipstick or don't. If you're wearing a mask, I'll let you decide.
Oh, that's so funny.
And the last thing I wanted to say, and then I'm, certainly able to hang around for a couple of questions that, if you guys have any, is Amy, I wanted to, and I'll come off this. Here, one more thing. Here's some of the resources, and then here is my my email address and my website. You can reach me here at leslierobinscoaching.com, and my phone number too. But I wanted to, in honor of my 3 sons, and I'll stop sharing here, is to be able to offer 3 to 3 of you. And Amy, if you would like to draw from who is in attendance today, I would like to offer a free coaching session to 3 of our guests today.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Leslie. Thank you so much. I think what I'll do is after this is I will put everybody's name in an Excel spreadsheet. And Excel has a little randomizer, and I'll draw, and then I'll just connect you guys. Does that work?
Okay, that would be great. Absolutely, absolutely. And I also offer a free 45-minute consultation too, and you can access that through the website as well.
Okay. I wanted to, I know we're running close to our time, and we certainly want to make sure we are consistent with letting you guys know when we're going to start and stop our events so you can plan your day effectively. I did want to mention we have a couple of our board members on today, and if you guys could just say hello if you're still with us. Yes, if you wouldn't mind, just if you're on the board of directors for the chamber, would you just say hello and introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sandra Harris. I have the pleasure of serving with Amy and the board of directors at the Bellevue-Harpeth Chamber of Commerce. I am a part of Pencil, where I serve as the senior partnership manager. Great to see you.
Thanks, Sandra.
Hey, I'm Darla Morrison, and I am working with the board there with the MR. The Membership Relations Committee. So if any of y'all are interested in being more active, just reach out to us. Love being there and part of everything that we're doing at the Chamber of Commerce. Love this community. And thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Darla. Hey, Heather. Heather is in her car and she is muted. So I'm going to just...
So sorry. Hey everyone, I'm Heather Wormroad. I am with the Chamber, and I have been driving, so this has been awesome to listen to on my drive today. Thank you, Leslie, so much, and thank you, Karen, for putting this together, and I think it's very timely for all of us. I know it spoke to me, and I'm sure it spoke to everyone on this. So thank you very much, and I look forward to more Women of the VUE events coming up, and I hope we can all be in person very soon.
Thanks, Heather. Heather's going to be chamber president starting next year in July. So she is now on our executive board as incoming president. We also have Diana Cook. I don't know if Diana's able to come on, but Diana is the treasurer for the chamber. And she is, there she is. Diana.
NCS soccer mom working. It was really great, Leslie. That was
Thank you.
So yeah. And I also, to go along with that, I actually dropped a link for a podcast that I listen to. I suffer with ADHD. So you guys might find it helpful. It's called ADHD for Smart Ass Women. So same lines. Have you heard? Have you heard of her?
I haven't heard of that one. Oh, I can't wait to listen to it. I have a whole list. Thank you.
She's a lawyer, and her son was first diagnosed with ADHD. So yeah, wealth of information went right along with everything you said. So yeah, awesome.
Great.
Diane,
Thank you.
Diane, I also like how you put it on there that the ADHD superpower. Thanks.
Yeah, that's what she refers to it as. Yeah, she refers to it as a superpower. Definitely not a negativity. So.
No, it's absolutely a gift.
Yes. So
awesome. Certainly can be.
Never heard it put that way before, so that's interesting perspective. Yeah. But yes, we have some amazing women leaders in our community, not just with the chamber, but many other organizations and businesses here. And it is absolutely a pleasure to have Women of the VUE as part of our chamber programming. And we love it, and we're so happy that you all were able to attend. One more thing before we go, I do want to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsor for Women of the VUE again, Vanderbilt Health, and Katie Peterson is with us. So thank you, Katie. Our partner sponsor, Tutor Doctor with Sal Farrow, and of course, all of our community leader sponsors. Something that is coming up that I want to talk to you guys about real quick is we have a webinar coming up on the 24th with Ascend Federal Credit Union about planning for college. And that webinar is on our event calendar, and you can register for that. It's a free seminar. Tiffany Holland is with us from Ascend. Say hello, Tiffany, real quick.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Ascend Federal Credit Union just opened their branch in Bellevue, so we're excited to have them with us in our community. It appears that the new fire station is open in Bellevue, so that's an exciting announcement. Lots of construction still going on. We're still, moving forward with our economic development here in our community, so we're excited about that. And we do have a new sponsorship program called Chamber Heroes, and it has some amazing marketing opportunities, some co-branding opportunities with the Chamber, opportunities to be out at the farmers market, and I'm going to be sending that out to everyone so you can take a look and see if that's something that fits with your plans. So Leslie, if you have any closing remarks, we'd love to hear those. And if not, we are so appreciative of your insight, and it was so helpful today. Thank you so much for putting this together and for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And I was looking through the chat too, and Glenn had mentioned here, and this is such a great point. I'm so glad that you shared this. Remember that prioritizing doesn't mean that you're not going to do something. It's just what happens next. I think that's excellent. And you talked about the research about wanting to get the easy taken care of and the small tests done. That's also a great point. And the one thing that made me think of is sometimes we have tolerations we're living with, and they're just these little annoyances that are happening that just kind of like, if you have a messy office and you walk into the room and you're like, oh, I don't even want to be in there, and you turn around and walk away, take care of those tolerations and tackle them one at a time. Don't feel like you have to do it all at once, but when you can alleviate some of those tolerations that you're experiencing on a daily basis, then that frees up so much more space in your brain to be able to deal with other things that you're having to deal with too. So I saw that and I wanted to make a point to mention that as well.
Well,
thank you so much. This was fun for me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen, thank you for your help with the Women of the VUE. Thank you for bringing Leslie on as our speaker today.
My pleasure.
That was an excellent choice that you made, an excellent decision. And we will be drawing for those free coaching sessions, and I will also be sending all of you guys our sponsors information so you can reach out if you have need for their services. And as always, the Chamber is here to serve you, and we are happy to assist you in any way. If you have any needs for anything, call us, and if we can't answer it, we will find somebody who can. We're proud to have you guys as part of our organization, and look forward to seeing you next time. So have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye, Sal.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Hi, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.